Hey, what's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode I got another cool review from Dragonhawk for you guys. It's the Mast Archer number 2. This is one of the newest machine that came out from Dragonhawk, and we're gonna be unboxing and reviewing it today. So make sure you stay tuned. We're gonna dive down and unbox this, but before we move on I want to let you know that this is your very last chance to have 20% off and 2 boxes of cartridges for free with your online purchase. If you order from Dragonhawk, you use the discount code tattoobar20. I will link it in the description down below as well, so you can order something, but this will end after today because it's the Cyber Monday. After that, don't worry, I always got you with a 10% discount, but if you want to have 20% discount, make sure you act fast and use that discount code tattoobar20. Now, without further ado, let's just dive down and have a look at this machine. So right here we got the nice little white box with Mast. It's made by Dragonhawk. Now if you open this up, you'll find your instructions. You can see here the machine has a 3.5mm stroke, a 4 to 12 volt output, 2000 mAh battery, and the speed on the machine. Now it has this cool LED strip. Also it has a smaller grip, which we're gonna have a look at in a little bit as well. And of course it works with cartridges, and it has a nice color display. Under this foam here, you got your machine, and right in here you just have your charging cable and a little plastic ring, which is probably from underneath the grip as well. Now let's put that aside. Then right here we got the machine itself. Other than that, is nothing else in the box. We got the machine right here. Very nice large display. As you can see, normally on Dragonhawk pens, like, the grip is super big. I will show that to you in a minute. But this one is actually a lot smaller. You can see it's only this part that is actual grip. Normally on Dragonhawk machines they were fairly large. On this one not so much. It has a little bit of a click to it. It's not very clicky like some of the other machines, but good enough. Now of course you got the big power on button. If you long press it, it'll turn on the machine. And you can see it has the interface right here. Now currently it's at 8 volts. The little circle here is to show your battery life. Now these little pieces are going to be taken off once you run down your battery. You see a little pause button right here. Now if you press the power on button, it starts to run and it'll show a green play button. Now when the power is off, you can, with your voltage adjustment buttons, you can toggle between colors. Now I'm not sure if it shows. Yeah, here we go. You have pink, you got purple, bluish, but you can also turn it off, which I think is a very good feature as well, because I am not sure how much of battery this light actually consumes. So I rather turn it off, but you know, if you want to, you can have it changing colors constantly as well. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, like that. And literally, if you have this one on, if you run your machine, it just, yeah, turns your tattoo shop into a club. So yeah, I prefer to keep the light off, but that's personal preference if you like to have like a little light. It looks very fancy. I just don't think it's really contributing anything to tattooing rather than consuming your battery. Now of course when you run the machine you got your up and down buttons here. This one is to turn your voltage down, so it goes all the way down to 4. Very nice slow running machine, and of course you can speed that up by pressing up. It goes up in increments of 1. There you go, all the way up to 12 volts. I don't think you're ever gonna use that, but you know, if you feel like it. I think probably 8, 9 is a good lining voltage. Now, a couple of things I've noticed about this machine. There's not a whole lot to take apart. Of course you can take off your grip, but other than that you cannot remove the battery, you cannot replace the motor or anything. But we're gonna talk about that at the end of the video, what I think about that. First I want to see how this machine operates. One thing I forgot to mention about this machine, that it has a direct drive system, so it's not like the flywheel with the little ridges on the side, which a lot of Dragonhawk'S machine actually have, but this is one with an actual cam and a little pusher bar, so like a direct drive system on this machine. In my opinion, that makes a machine a little bit more consistent and makes the hit a little bit more consistent as well, because it's not depending on the ridges, because maybe one of your ridges will break on your cam wheel, and on this that doesn't really happen. Now what does concern me is if that cam breaks, there's gonna be no way you're gonna be reaching it, because you cannot really open this thing up other than the grip. And even if you take the grip off, when you have a look like around here, I don't really see any spot where I could potentially get to the motor. Which, for example, on a machine from Ambition that I've reviewed in the past, like either the Soldier or the Torped, it's very easy to get to that motor and you can replace that cam if it happens to break. Now let's hope it doesn't break, because you know, you want to have this machine to last forever, but it's always something to consider. So I'm gonna wrap her up and get some practice skin ready and do some tattooing, so stay tuned. Alright, now as usual I have my needles that I always use for the practice skin by InkSafe. I have a 3-round liner, a tight 9-round liner, and I got a 15 curved Magnum. Now we're gonna do some fine lines, some little bit bolder lines, and some shading, color packing, just to see how this machine operates. Now of course this is not how it would work onto real skin, but just to see how it works, how it feels, and you know, just get a little bit of a feel for it. Of course I'm gonna take this machine with me to work and do a couple of tattoos with it as well, which gonna be onto the page probably in the next coming weeks, hopefully. So yeah, we're just gonna test this thing out. I'm gonna start with the 3-round liner and we're just gonna do a couple of small lines with it. Now this is a 3.5mm stroke, so usually that is very nice for fine lines and shading, but we're gonna find out if it would also work with a little bit of a bolder line. I'm gonna start off a little bit slower. I was thinking to do 9 volts. We're gonna go with 8 and then kind of go up and see from there how it feels. I'm gonna dump a little bit of Vaseline on there. And let's do a couple of lines. Alright, looks pretty good. Only thing, I'm missing a little bit of the power, so I'm gonna increase the volts a little bit. I'm gonna go 8.5. looks a little bit more solid. Let's do one more. Cool. Okay, now let's quickly go up in size a little bit. We're gonna go to the Tide 9-round liner. And we're gonna stay at 8.5 volts. Now let's have a look. Feels very good. Maybe we're gonna need just a little bit more, so we're gonna go to 9. Let's do a couple more lines. Let's do one more. Start was not the best. Alright. It performs very decent for lining. Now I want to see how this thing does with shading. So we're going to use the 15 curved magnum. We're going to drop the voltage. I think I'm going to start probably, let's pay attention to the sound. I'm going to start always a little bit slower. So I'm going to start at 6. Need to adjust my needle depth a little bit. There we go. Now let's do a little bit of shading. Very nice and soft. You barely see any dots. They're super fine. We're gonna go over a little bit more. Yeah, this machine is very nice to build up these shades. Can run pretty slow, and it's really soft, so it's giving a very nice soft shade. Alright, let's see what happens if we increase the folds just a little bit. Maybe 6.5 is where it's on now. That's probably what I would use when I tattoo normally. But I always like to start out a little bit slower when I'm testing out. shading is definitely very nice on this machine. As you can see, right next to it is some of the reviews that I've done previous. They were also 3.5mm strokes, but this just seems a little bit more softer. I think the machine is a bit of a better quality as well. Not saying the other ones are bad, but you can feel that this machine is a little bit more high-end. I'm gonna run it again. I'm gonna go back to 6 volts and I'm gonna do a little bit of backing. So we're gonna do some solid black just above here. Okay, this might have to go a little bit faster. Let's do 6.5. I'm not gonna go over it, but I'm gonna go underneath just so we can see the difference. Looking a bit better. Now I think we could even go to 7. And we might just need a little bit more needle as well. Okay, so 7 volts. Here we go. Alright, pretty cool. I like the way this machine packs. It's very consistent, it's very smooth. Now I do feel like if I compare it to the machines that I've done previously, these were the machines by Yilong. Maybe you've seen the review on my channel. Now if you haven't, you can always go and have a look at those. They're also 3.5mm stroke machines. And you can see that even though they are all 3.5mm, they are all acting a little bit different, especially on the practice skin. But I have to say, I definitely notice on this machine that it feels a little bit softer. It doesn't pack super solid really fast like some other machines do, which is normal for a 3.5mm stroke. Normally with a 4 or a higher stroke you back color a little bit easier, but you can see that this shading is just super smooth. Now I do want to do some dot work with this one as well, so I'm going to go back to the 3 round liner and do a little bit of whip shading to create these dots, see how that works. But yeah, I can definitely feel this machine is very nice for shading and probably fine line as well, which doesn't really show on the practice skin, but probably on a real tattoo it would. But yeah, we're gonna try a little bit of the whip shading with my liner, and I'm gonna drop the voltage all the way. Maybe not all the way, we're gonna go all the way to 5. And we are going to do some dots. Very cool. Alright, let's give that a clean. Now here you can see it is an absolute beast of a shader. Also the packing is pretty nice. The lining, I don't know, I cannot really judge that by practice skin, but I am not feeling this machine as a liner. This could be a personal thing, because I always like to line with a little bit of a higher stroke. But then if I compare it to the other stuff that I've done on the practice skin with other reviews, I do see a lot of difference in the shading. The shading on this machine is super smooth. I actually really like it. Even the dot work, super crisp and super soft as well. A little bit nicer than the other ones. I do know probably why that is, so we're gonna go back up top and talk about some of these features on this machine a little bit more. But yeah, if you want to actually see me do a head-to-head with this machine to probably one of the Yilong 3.5mm stroke machines, make sure you drop that in the comments and I will make it happen for you guys. So let's quickly go back up top and have a look at this machine a little bit more. Now there are a couple of things I really like about this machine, and I really like the way this machine shades. It's a very consistent shader, a very soft shader. So yeah, that's something that I definitely like. For me, at least on the practice skin, but I don't know how it's gonna do on real skin. I am not the biggest fan of how this thing lines, but maybe I just have to get used to it a little bit more and work my way around it a little bit. But for now, in the initial review, I don't necessarily like it as a liner, but I do like it as a shader, and it can also pack pretty good color, or at least black. which I really like as well. Also the pepper shading or the whip shading, liner shading, dot work, things however you want to call it, is very consistent on this machine. So if you are into like fine line kind of tattoos, fine whip shading, or maybe you do very big 3-round liner pieces, this is probably a machine that you will really enjoy because it works really nice for that. Now, things that I don't really like about this machine is this grip is super short. Now I know a lot of machines have this on their machine, which is fine. I personally always use a little bit of a bigger grip tape, and it starts to get onto the machine and it's going to be harder to make the adjustment. So probably if you have this machine, get a grip tape that is a little bit shorter or a little bit smaller, so you can wrap just the grip and it doesn't get on your machine, so you can still adjust it pretty easy. LED light on the machine is very nice. Personally, when the machine is off, it just toggles between colors. Now I kind of wish that it just had one set color. I don't really care about the LED light, but what I do like sometimes is to adjust my voltage if my machine is not running, because sometimes I will be tattooing and I'm done with the lining, I'll turn off my machine, change my cartridge, and sometimes I just want to change my voltage before I actually continue with my shading. But if that's the case, I will kind of turn into, I'll just change color on the machine. It's a fun feature, I get it. Is it very convenient? I don't think so. And also, one really down point on this is that it just has one battery and that's it. You cannot replace the battery. If your battery breaks down, you cannot buy a new battery and put that on there. You can also not really use it wired, so it's a pure wireless machine, and this is how it has to be done for the rest of the lifetime of this machine. And personally I always like to be able to replace things if I don't like them, or if they break down I want to replace it rather than toss it and buy a new machine. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this. But I have to say, the way it operates, the way it tattoos is really nice. So all in all, I'm really happy with this machine. I want to thank Dragonhawk for sending this out to me to review it, because there's not a lot of information about this machine to be found yet. So I hope I informed you guys a little bit on how this machine works. Of course, this is the last day of the whole Cyber Monday, Black Friday sales, whatever. If you use Tattoo Bar 20, you get a 20% discount plus 2 boxes of cartridges, but it only lasts today, so make sure you don't miss that. Other than that, just use the link in my description down below to get a 10% discount anyways on any of Dragonhawk's tattoo equipment. Now, if you want to see me compare this to any other 3.5mm stroke wireless machines, make sure you let me know in the comments as well, so I can work on a video to show things like that. And other than that, I have nothing else to say, so I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And other than that, just have a wonderful day, and I see you in the next video.